Hi, and welcome to the Neoprene Playmat. I'm your host, Matt Piak, and this is the weekly roundup. So, depending on the week, I'll put out a review of what I've done the previous week or a top 10 list, and usually this comes out on Saturdays. So sorry for the delay, guys. Had some stuff go down yesterday, and just wasn't able to get this out until today. But all that said, I wanted to make sure that I got this out, talked about what I was doing this week, and just some things to come in the future, some future discussions, and I'd love to hear some of your guys' thoughts on ways to move this channel forward. So without further ado, let's hop into it. So let's talk about first what I've been playing this week. Super Fantasy Brawl came in last Thursday, I believe it was, like 9 days ago, 10 days ago, whichever. And it's gotten to the table like 6 different times. I am loving this game. This game is fantastic. It's a tactical game where you're playing 3 different heroes against the other person. There's here's some of the sculpts and the miniatures. I mean, they're great. They're these huge chunky sculpts, and just sliding them around on the neoprene playmat, it feels so nice. But beyond the component quality, beyond just kind of what came in the box, the game is really good too. I think my favorite part of it is that you score your challenges at the start of your turn, which means you spend your entire turn working to get these challenges, and then your opponent has an entire turn to try and deal with you before those things score. So in order to score, not only do you have to reach the criteria for the challenge, but then you have to hold it there for the entirety of the round. And that's made to some really, really great decision making. You'll see here there's some trap hexes, or these trap tokens down. We have these pillars, and the pillars actually serve as a part of the arena as well. You can slam people up against them. You can block certain attacks by your positioning around the pillars, and so it just makes for a really great tactical feel, great tactical game. And so this one will certainly be coming out more. I'm actually planning to play with Lucid Omnia Media. I think I'm saying that right. On Tuesday. We're not streaming or anything online, but who knows? Maybe that's something down the line in the future. So I'll be playing with Ryan from over there. All right. So, the Isle of Cats. Now, this game is, if you watch my top 10, this is number 3 of all time. Really, really enjoy this game. I get it to the table a lot. It gets out with a lot of different crowds. And it doesn't overstay its welcome. It kind of knows what it is, and it works. And so what you do in this game is essentially you're going to be collecting these cats. You're luring them into baskets with fish. You're trying to save them off of this island before a pirate, I believe his name is Vesh. He's trying to overthrow it. So you're going to be taking these cats in, and then you're going to be putting them on your boat. You want to cover up the rats. That way the cats eat them and they don't cause problems on the ship. And you're also trying to fill out all these different rooms all over the ship. And this huge thing also counts as a room. And there's no way you could ever fill up all the rooms, but it's this really nice puzzle of trying to figure out, how am I going to fill up the most rooms? How am I going to use the shapes most effectively? What's the best way to spend my fish this turn to lure in the right cats? And should I be going for baskets, or should I be trying to get a lot of treasure? There are treasures that also cover up spots on the board. And so there's kind of a diversity of strategy there. There are also these cards that are called lessons, which give you different win conditions throughout the game. And not win conditions, victory point conditions. So, for example, there's one that says you get 18 points if you don't fill in either of these bedrooms, and things like that. So it kind of directs the way you play, but I've also seen people just go for tons and tons of lessons and not necessarily worry as much about getting everything filled out correctly. So they take the negative points there, but then they get all these positive points from the lessons that they've played. All in all, it's a really engaging experience. Turns are quick. There's a card drafting mechanic as well, which I tend to like card drafting mechanics as a whole. Anything that has cards in it, I'm usually a fan of. So was really happy to get this to the table this week. And once again, Heather and I cannot stop playing Lost Cities. We have probably played it 40 times in the last month. We play pretty much every day now, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. It's just been a great time. I'm not going to go into the details because I think I bring it up every single week. But I just want you to know that it's still riding strong for us. And last night it was me asking to play Lost Cities. Other nights it's Heather asking to play. So we're constantly on each other getting this one to the table. So that's been a good experience. And then lastly, I got a game off my shelf of shame or shelf of opportunity, however you want to call it. And that's Legacy of Dragonholt. If you're not familiar with this game, it came out in 2017 by Fantasy Flight Games. And it's one of those games that I find it really interesting. So a lot of times in the party game market, there are games that come out and a lot of reviewers go on record saying things like, this is not a game, it's an activity. The points really don't matter here. If you're looking for a fun activity, this is good, but it's not a game. And everybody says that when it's a party game. Now, for me, if it's fun, I don't really care what it's determined. I'm looking for entertainment, so that never really steers me away. Legacy of Dragonholt, I've heard time and time again from reviewer after reviewer that this is a great game. Nobody's made the distinction that it's an activity. It's totally an activity. You're reading through, it's a choose-your-own adventure. That said, it's really, at least from the first chapter I've been through, really, really engaging, and I really, really enjoyed it. But even in the directions, it's like, it doesn't matter there's really no winning or losing. It's enjoying the experience. And you just kind of keep going through. And so, I don't know, as I'm going through and doing this, it just came to mind, like, why is nobody trying to make that distinction here? Is it because this is more of a gamer's game? You're going through, you're creating your own character. It's almost like a solo run RPG. It does say you could play up to 6 players. I probably would never play with more than 2. Like, this could be a fun couples activity or a game to play with your kid if you have kids and that sort of thing. But I probably would never play over 2. I think it's probably best as a solo experience. But yeah, it's definitely just an activity. That said, it's a very engaging activity and one I really enjoy. I just struggle to wonder why nobody came out and made such a big stink about this, because they do with all these party games. Everybody's always coming out saying this is an activity, it's not a game, almost like if they enjoyed it as a game they wouldn't be a real gamer or something. But no, there's not winning and losing in this, but it's a super engaging story. There's fun stuff, like right here you'll see this is a letter where you start your journey. You open this up and you begin reading, and it's kind of funny. I don't want to spoil too much, but you'll get this in the first 5 minutes you play. There's a ton of typos in this letter. And when I was reading through it at first, I was like, really? Like, how did their editor miss this? These are so obvious, all of these mistakes in here. But then, like, shortly after you read that you're questioning why in the story, you're questioning why there were all these grammatical errors and things from a character in the game that wouldn't usually do that. And so it's become part of the story, even like these typos and the way it's written out. So it's really immersive. It's been enjoyable. I just made it to town, so I don't know how the game goes from there. I've heard mixed reviews, but for the most part, everything about this game has been overwhelmingly positive. So I'm excited to kind of continue my journeys there and continue playing through. That is pretty much what I've played this week. That's my weekly roundup. But I don't necessarily want to stop there. I don't want this to just be me telling you what games I've played. I also want this to be a place where we can come together and you can maybe lend to the discussion as to what content comes next. So I've got a few different things on my mind, and one of the major ones was Super Fantasy Brawl is absolutely fantastic. It's probably one of my favorite head-to-head games right now. Had I made that top 10 head-to-head games after I had received this, it probably would have made a spot on there. Summoner Wars probably would have been pushed off. And that said, there's potentially an opportunity for me to do some streaming content with it. I know I don't plan on doing playthroughs or full-on reviews of different games, but I think streaming is a little bit different. It's kind of a public time of, hey, I'm gaming. Do you want to join in? Do you want to watch? That type of thing, where I'm not doing a playthrough to teach you how to play or tell you my thoughts on the game, more just an invitation to come along for the journey of that game. So if that is content you're particularly interested in, please let me know in the comments below. Another thing, once again, dealing with Super Fantasy Brawl, is I have some major complaints about the box it came in, this giant box. Now, it was very exciting to get. I was very pumped. You probably saw me pull it up here on screen and show you how I can't even fit it on the screen. But at the same time, there are so many limitations that box has created for the game. And so I was considering, I do have like a top-down camera and things that I could set up. I don't plan on doing unboxings once again, but this would be more of a Taste on Tuesday type of roundup, perhaps maybe even a laying it all out where I'm going into box design and things like that. But I just want to show essentially how flawed this box really is that they decided to produce for this game. It's big, it's grand, it's going to make a statement on your shelf. It's great for marketing because if it's on your shelf anywhere, people are going to say, what is that? But beyond that, it's created a lot of problems too. So if you're interested in me exploring that box, showing you with a top-down camera, kind of all my different complaints about that box, I would love to do that as well. I'm just trying to gauge where the community's at and what you guys want to see, while also staying true to what this channel is and what this channel is about. So please hit up the comments below. If you like the content I'm putting out, hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, this has been the Neoprene Playmat, and have a great day.